Now, the big news internationally is the first death due to the Omicron variant of COVID was reported in the UK. Britain, among the countries worst hit by the global health crisis since last year, is believed to be the first government to officially announce a death from the mutated virus. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has sounded the alarm because of the high levels and rising rates of transmission. In a rare television address, Johnson said that emergency measures were needed to prevent hospitals becoming overwhelmed in the weeks ahead and launched an ambitious COVID booster shot program to stop the virus spread. Well, to talk more about Omicron and what we're seeing in the country and around the world, we're now joined by Dr. Muzaffar Lakrawala, advisor BMC for the COVID jumbo facilities. And we're also joined by Dr. Rajinder K. Dhamija, WHO Fellow, National Institute of Epidemiology. First, Dr. Mufazzal, to start with you, we have so far these cases of Omicron in the country, the most reported from Maharashtra. But if we see what's happening across the world, especially in the UK, where cases are spreading and they've sounded an alarm, also called for booster shots, what do you feel we should now do?
Good morning, Gargi. And I believe that the cases would rise. It's infected around 63 countries worldwide as we speak. That's what the WHO current statistics say. But what we need to understand is Maharashtra is one of the other sites, like Delhi, where a lot of people, Mumbai especially, where a lot of people from abroad would come in. The good thing that the government has done is it's very, very stringent on all those people who are coming in, who are testing positive, and sending them for genomic testing, which was not done in the past. So that's one good thing, that we are trying to block it right at the entry and having special Omicron wards, as in the Seven Hill Hospital in Mumbai. What we do need to understand is, like the first thing that has happened in UK, they say that they're expecting 24 to 75,000 deaths because as the numbers go, we do know one thing for sure is that the Omicron variant is far more transmissible. So a lot more people can get infected. There's a threefold higher house transmission as compared to the Delta variant. And it does have immune escape as well. So the effectiveness of the vaccines, we have a study from UK which says that the Pfizer 2-dose has dropped down to as low as 34%, and a 3-dose booster has gone up to around 75%, vis-a-vis a Delta where the 3-dose was giving 95% or more protection. And that's why the governments are all clamoring for the booster, especially in individuals at risk, the frontline workers, those immunocompromised. Gargi.
Right. So, Dr. Dhamija, doesn't it make sense then for us too to go in for booster shots, especially for those who are vulnerable, and especially given what we now know about the reinfections? The only, I suppose, something that gives some comfort is the fact that most places, and even South Africa, reporting that it's been mild, the cases. But with the first death being reported in the UK, it is worrying.
Good morning, Gargi. You're right that the transmissibility is known by now, that it is highly transmissible. There is some evidence of immune escape. But having said that, this findings which have been brought in the science is mainly from the protection induced by the vaccines. So the immune escape has been seen in those people who have been vaccinated, particularly in the Western countries. In our country, most of the people have already had prior infection from the second wave in the country, and then on top of that, our 87% people have had one shot of vaccine, and more than 50% have double dose of vaccine. So we are a little different from the others countries which are seeing immune escape. And secondly, you mentioned about the reinfection and the people who are vaccinated having infection. So this is a little biased because we are testing those people who are travelers, and all the travelers have mandatory vaccination. So it's a little bit skewed data, and it's very early to say that the Omicron is causing a lot of reinfections and its immune escape as compared to the Delta. But having said that, this is highly transmissible. There is a chance of having lots and lots of infections around, and to tackle that, the government has started doing the micro level containments or at the district level. So these three things which probably would be required in our setup would be, first is that we have to strictly adhere to make the people adhere to COVID appropriate behavior, encourage vaccination as much as possible. Even those who have one shot have to have a second dose, maybe children now included in the vaccination. So, and the third thing is the micro level, as I told you, containment or the mitigation measures, as we all public health professionals have been having this opinion that we have to tackle at the entrance and as well as at the clusters or at the containment area so that they don't develop it or they don't spread it. There is no doubt about that. There will be exponential growth of numbers in coming weeks, but we are following UK and the South Africa. You know, the South Africa is 60 million people. UK is again 67 million people. South Africa, on the one hand, is having declared as a mild infection, more transmissible with R0 of 4. While on the UK, there is a level 4 alert, which says that the best case scenario would be 24,000, 25,000 deaths, and the worst case would be 75,000 deaths. So these are early days for us. We are following them in 2 to 3 months, like in first wave or in the second wave. Still, there is 8 to 12 weeks time, maybe at least 8 weeks time, which we can follow them and we can see the dynamics of the pandemic, how it evolves in this country. But at the same time, we have to be overcautious, not to be panicked. So we have to be prepared for the numbers in the infrastructure. So obviously, having said that, we need to be cautious. We need to strictly adhere to the COVID appropriate behavior along with vaccination and micro containment areas.
Well, that COVID appropriate behavior is just not happening. People, I think, are now completely fed up, and unless, you know, there's some sort of restrictions put on them, nobody is really following that. Like you have in Mumbai, isn't it, Dr. Mufazzal? Over this weekend, you had a ban on large gatherings, and you know, and what Dr. Dhameja said, that right now we've only been testing those coming in. We need to do more aggressive testing and genomic testing, and you know, to track if the Omicron variant is already here, because let's face it, it's been a month since it's been detected. It was obviously floating around before that.
Gargi, I do understand that curtailing is a real challenge. And what you said correctly, we've got COVID fatigue, which is set in. So the government might impose a lot of rules, but are people going to follow? I think people are just done with masking, with social distancing, and whatever you say. The governments can only put in rules, but people have to follow them eventually. So the best thing that the government can do is, and what I've seen on ground is that people have started taking the second doses. People who had actually deferred from doing it, luckily because of the Omicron scare, they've started taking their second doses. So that's what the government can enforce and try and make it facilitated for earlier thing. Prevention, again, is better than cure. So prevent the vaccine from spreading across India, because then it'll be very difficult to contain this Omicron scare. Like Dr. Dhameja said, the transmissibility is very, very high. We do know that R0 is much higher than in the other cases. And therefore, the best way is to block it at our borders as far as we can.
Right, and what I meant was that, you know, Mumbai at least has put these restrictions. So, you know, you have a restriction on big gatherings, but there are no restrictions anywhere else. And, you know, big gatherings are taking place. We've seen the election rallies taking place. Dr. Dhameja, your view on that?
I think we have already published signs of super spreader event. So obviously, it's a big issue in any pandemic or pandemic like SARS-CoV-2, which keeps on evolving, and with the new variants having more transmission or more infectivity. So this is very crucial, not to go outside, not to make a part of the crowd yourself. This is the responsibility of our own people. The science is doing its own job. The researchers are doing their own job. The governments and policy makers are doing their own job. But onus is on us not to make it happening around us. So we need to be very, very, unless and until it is required, very urgently, we should not be moving out unnecessarily, making a part of the crowd. So that's very important. And the last thing which I want to say through your medium is that we need to take a balanced view. So obviously, the things would evolve, the dynamics of pandemic will evolve. So we have to take, as the pandemic evolves, with the dynamics of the science, and we have to believe in science, not on the speculations which are going around with the numbers floating around from the other countries. Each country has its own geo-epidemiological equation. So we have a young population. Our seropositivity has been very high in the second wave, and we have already had inoculated almost 80%, at least with the first dose. So the focus should be complete vaccination along with the strict adherence to the COVID appropriate behaviors by law enforcement agencies.
Right, definitely have to push the vaccinations, also get more vaccines, and then, you know, as you said, open it up for children, hopefully soon. Thank you so much, doctors, for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you.